you come out of a probably well-paid job at Procter & Gamble. Then you say, okay, I want to be an entrepreneur. So you start with a concept. You have the concept in your mind probably a long time. Then you take the decision, the first shop, to open the first shop. Can you tell me a little bit on how you go from the first shop to the second, to the fifth, to the sixth, and so on? Like, how does that scaling process works?
Yeah, I think it's a mental process and a procedural process as well. I think from going from the corporate world, and I did some things between Procter and Crêpeaffaire, but I think you first go through a phase of total euphoria. You have the idea, you're very enthusiastic about it, and then you get to the point where you actually have to fund it, and you have a complete white paper in front of you. So the first phase is you're scared. It's paranoia. It's like, is this going to work? And I think once you have your first store up and running, which is really a laboratory, lots of trial and error, you learn a great deal from it. And it became clear to us after a few months that this was a concept that was going to work and had the potential to scale. So I think the initial stage is, and for me was from the stage of enthusiasm and then fear to actually get it up and running, to say, okay, now what are the learnings? What can we learn from this first store? What can we learn from consumer behavior? And how do you get to store 2 and then to 3? I think 2 and 3 were kind of similar. You basically pick up the things that you've learned from your first stores. You become a bit more adventurous in certain ways. You also downscale certain things that you thought would work and didn't. You promote those that work better than you thought. And that was a process that took about 2 years to get to store 2 and 3. I think from store 3 onwards, and before you go international or franchising, that's when structural changes start to come in. That's when you realize that when you're in your own as an entrepreneur, there's not everything. You need to start delegating a lot more. You need to have systems in place, be they financial, be they communication, be they inventory, and so forth and so on. And you start cautiously. Because in a starting business, there's little money to basically fund this all. So it's, again, been a lot of trial and error. I think where we got to now, where we have a business which, internationally now, we're not big, but we have 30 sites, and there's consistency when it comes to product sourcing and marketing and other things. And yeah, it's been a jump. And at some point, when you get to the point of 10 plus, that's when you need to make decisions on investment into systems. And I think that was the key thing, that you need to start to prepare for growth.